Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Skeeter Racing YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be working on a rear firewall and also replacing the trunk floor pan in my 240. So I had cut out the trunk pan to build a fuel cell cage. My old fuel tank was all rusted out. There was really no fixing it or repairing it, or at least I didn't want to. I didn't want to take the risk. So I went with a fuel cell setup, and we cut out the floor of the trunk, made a fuel cell cage for it, and now I need to cover up that hole but still leave where I can access the fuel cell. So kind of figuring this out as we go. I have a rough idea of what I want to do, but I've never done this before, and so we're gonna kind of figure out how practical it is as we're working on it. Okay, so I got all of the bulk work of it done. All the sound deadening back here has been removed. I went over all of it with a wire wheel, and now I'm going to take some lacquer thinner, some rags, and I'm going to try to get up any residue I can. You can still see there's a little bit of residue here and there. Some of this is where the grinder and the wire wheel, it took away some of the paint, and now there's like some, shiny spots, not shiny spots. The worst part is still over here. Whatever this stuff was, it was really bad, and now I actually have a theory of why that was there. So if we look at this side has a crease in it right here. This is probably a factory stamp. It actually gives it strength to have that little groove in it right there. They stamp it for strength. Well, if you come to this side, it's not there, and it's actually very beat. So this was really uneven underneath all of that black tar stuff. And my guess is this was in a wreck. They hammered it out when they put the trunk pan back down. Probably didn't look right. It was probably a little wavy, and they put something underneath there, whatever this junk is, to kind of level it all out a little bit and give it maybe the lift that it needed to look right whenever they put the trunk pan back in there. Some really kind of dodgy, hokey work, but I think that's what happened. That's my theory. I don't know. So I talked to the two previous owners that I know of this car, and they had no idea why that was there. It was there when they bought it, so who knows? This could have happened way back in, the early 90s. Anyways, let's get to cleaning this up now. that cleaned up way better than I expected, really. I just took some lacquer thinner, some rags, and it really was just wiped right up. And I think if I hadn't have gone over everything with a wire wheel, it probably wouldn't have wiped up as easily as it did. Now, it probably ruined the wire wheel. It's probably going to be gummed up. Not really going to be good for anything else, but they're cheap, so I think it was definitely worth it. I really just buzzed over everything pretty quickly with the wire wheel and then wiped it all down. And as you can see, it cleaned up so well. And I am very excited to get that new panel in here, get it welded in. This has me very, very excited. I do need to go ahead and grind back the paint where I'm going to be welding in that new panel. This also makes me feel a lot better knowing that this is all kind of tore up over here. I knew that this quarter had some work on it already. Whenever I was sanding it and I was doing body work to it, I did come across another section that had Bondo on it. But again, I talked to the previous 2 owners that I know of this car, and they had never repaired it. So again, that's probably a very old repair, and if it's working, there's no need to mess with it. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and probably lay my panel in here, trace it out, grind back all the paint, and then get that tacked in. And then I've already got this piece cut out for this spot right here. Probably gonna do the same thing, get that ground out, get that tacked in and welded in, and probably call it for a day after that. And like a complete idiot, I did not hit record whenever I welded this in. So I basically I just stitch welded it along the edges. So there's like one there, 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 there. You can see it caught that on fire, there, there, there. And then there's just one in the middle of each bar here. Step back a little bit from it. But yeah, I guess there wasn't really anything crazy to show you anyways, because I just really just stitch welded it. There's a spot right there, 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 and there, and then again right there, that I drilled a hole and did like a spot weld kind of thing. And that was just because it was really hard to get back to weld in there, and I was like, well, I'll just do a spot weld. That's like what the factory does anyways. And that was kind of my intention why I just stitch welded it, is because if this was a factory panel, it would just get spot welded in anyways, not fully seal welded. And so that's the way I did it, is I stitch welded it all around, and then now I'll do a seam sealer along the whole seam there to seal it off. But that's pretty much it. Now the next panel to do is that one right there. And then after I've got that, I'm going to start playing around with the design of how I'm going to make the panel that comes from right here and right here across. And then I'm going to have some sort of piece of metal on the hatch here, and whenever you close it, we'll lay on top of that piece and seal it. Haven't 100% figured that out yet, but I knew I could get these panels in without getting that far. And yeah, so that's where I'm at.
Hold up. Just gonna do this, okay?
Oh no.
Alright, watch it just and then just feels right out. It didn't even do anything.
So here's just a rough overview of what we did. So we got the floor all welded in. We've got this crossbar here and another one here that goes up. We put riv nuts in right there, another one there, and another one over there. And there are two separate panels that sit on top of this that that will seal off this top area. Now, keep in mind, I know I said earlier I was going to try to make something up here that would close down on top of that. Ended up not doing that. There's not a huge gap there, and I'm not really going for like an FD spec rear firewall. This is already so much better than what I had before, so I'm gonna go ahead and just run it how it is. I plan on maybe putting some insulation underneath these panels here so that it helps keep it a little cooler back here. Maybe something on the back of this, I'm not too sure, but I just wanted to update with what actually ended up happening back here. So like I said, it's not perfect, but for being the first time doing something like this, I'm pretty proud of this, and I know it's going to be way safer than what I had before. Remember, this fuel cell used to be just bolted to the floor. If anything were to happen, all the fuel would leak all the way up into the front. Now at least it shouldn't happen. I'm going to end the video here just because we're going to end up painting and seam sealing the whole interior all in one go. So it would be a really long time before this video came out. And that's kind of why I waited so long to put this one out, is because I thought that I would go ahead and seam seal everything and paint it. But it's going to be so much easier to do it all in one go. So we're going to end it here, show you what I did. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. This really isn't a how-to video because we didn't know what we were doing. We were just figuring it out. This is just more of what I did and kind of more of a vlog style, I guess you could say. And here's the view from the inside here. You can see we just spot welded it in a bunch of different spots all the way around. And then we're gonna go back through and seam seal all of that. And then that panel will sit on top of there. So when the trunk is closed, I mean, there's really a very minimal gap there between the back panel and the hatch, and then also the top of that panel to the hatch. And I'm really not too worried about it. I think it'll be safe enough. It's already light years ahead of where we were before, and as far as safety. But anyways, I'm gonna end the video there. I wanna thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, like the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.